What's good, y'all? It is your humble Ronin here with another live episode of Lounge Ronin. If you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. I love how I'm texting someone, and I literally wrote subscribe. That's hilarious. And on this episode, it's a little bit of a late one. I know this article came out last month. I've been meaning to get to it. Just life and responsibilities have taken precedent. So now that things have winded down a little bit, I'd figure we talk about this article. And I think it actually lines up perfectly with this month, as we have Fantastic Four right around the corner. So let's get into this article titled "Thunderbolts Lost Millions of Dollars Despite Great Reviews. Where does Marvel go next?" This article was written by Rebecca Rubin, and it was released June 13th, 2025. So let's do it. So, days after Thunderbolts hit the big screen, Disney CEO Bob Iger was feeling celebratory. He publicly touted the comic book adventure as the first and best example of Marvel's new movie strategy, referring to the film's positive reception from audience and critics. And what a relief, following a bumpy few years and a string of poorly produced, filmed, managed, and reviewed misfires in their franchise. Let's be honest. Bumpy is is not even the correct terminology. That shit was burning on fire. And let's be real, it still kinda is. Marvel's calculus has changed, says Sean Robbins, Fandango's movie analytics director. We're in a new era where not every Marvel movie is going to hit $1 billion. It could still be doing that. And to say that, I think, is a little foolish, because they are their own reason for their films not being successful. But we'll continue. Since the MCU's inception with 2008's Iron Man, Marvel has been Hollywood's most consistent hitmaker. It's also the highest grossing film franchise in history, with $31 billion across 36 films. $1 billion per movie shouldn't be a barometer for success. But before COVID scrambled things, even less beloved installments were guaranteed a certain level of box office. Pre-pandemic, 19 out of its 22 films at least cracked 500 million globally. Since then, one Teflon brand has struggled with commercial consistency. Starting in 2026, just 6 out of 13 films have reached the $500 million benchmark. While the struggle with consistency is the lack of qualified individuals to maintain that consistency. You can say what you want about COVID-19, but I don't really think that really played a major impact on Disney's movie industry. I think what played a more major impact is the lack of quality and the push for propaganda and ideology. You got rid of everyone who made quality content for you, and you replaced it with ideology. And they don't even have the qualifications to meet the quality that is expected from a multi-$100 billion corporation. You don't have that quality anymore. Kevin Feige doesn't have that quality anymore. Did he ever? That's a good question to ask. At least February's Captain America Brave New World and 2023's The Marvels and Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania could blame their disastrous grosses on terrible reviews, but not on poor storytelling, poor characters, forced agendas, none of that stuff. That stuff isn't a problem. It just the terrible reviews. So these films are masterpieces. It's just the reviewers that are the problem. And this is the issue with these kind of articles and these type of writers. They like to placate the blame on other shit or downplay it or make it seem as, or better yet, they like to create a false reality around the reasons why those films failed. Now, here's something that really bugs me, but I'm going to get to that when they start talking about the finances, specifically around Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts had an enthusiastic word of mouth, but it is yet to climb out of the red, suggesting there's a new ceiling for superhero movies that aren't based on Macaray characters. No, that's not it. The ceiling hasn't changed. It's the lack of quality that has changed. That is what changed. The lack of quality. There's no new ceiling. The ceiling is still the same. It's the quality that has changed. Because you put everyone at a certain expectation. You've stopped meeting that expectation. And you're wondering why your product is failing. You set the bar. You're not following through on your end of the bargain, the same bargain of which you created. That's why they're failing. A diminished global marketplace and oversaturation of superhero stories on the big and small screen are partly responsible for the decline. No, it's not an oversaturation. It's the lack of quality. It's the lack of quality. Audiences' habits and tastes also have shifted. This year's biggest blockbusters have been kid-friendly films like a Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch, or the original fare such as Sinners. Okay, well, let's be real here. Minecraft was an anomaly. All right, that was an anomaly. And if we're going to be extra real, that was a brain rot film that everyone just took their kids and themselves to see because it looked so stupid. That's what that was. Lilo and Stitch, like the film only made that type of money because it was Lilo and Stitch. I assure you, had people went into the film knowing about the outcome of the ending, it probably wouldn't have done as well. And I cannot imagine that the sequels will do that much better than this. So, no. The only one up here that makes sense is Sinners. Why? Because Sinners was an original idea. It was fresh and it was new. And it ticked all the right boxes for everybody. Maybe that's something that the writer and Hollywood should take into consideration. Originality, authenticity. Because let's be real here, there's not much authenticity in Lilo and Stitch. It's an effing live action of an incredible animated film. And Minecraft is just an anomaly. And I would say if Hollywood were to look at Minecraft and Lilo and Stitch as bars to set, then that's stupid. But Sinners is more of an ideal bar to set, but it's a black film. So, there are going to be issues with that. as stupid as it is, but this is a situation that we live in where this very same company, magazine Variety, downplayed the success of Sinners mostly because it's a black film. Like, they downplayed it, how successful it was, to the point where they didn't have much to say when it made more than Lilo and Minecraft, where it saved IMAX because of Tom Cruise and how much he loved that film. The film was so highly praised that they actually extended its longevity in IMAX because people demanded it. But Variety here is going to tell you that's not the case because it's a black film. You know, they love to celebrate Black Panther and Ryan Coogler, but when he does his own original work outside of the white man's pedigree, that's an issue. Which is hilarious. But, you know, this is the world that we live in. Let's continue. And shout out to everyone that's listening. Please hit that like button and make sure to subscribe if you're new. These lower tier comic book movies aren't cinematic slam dunks anymore, says exhibitor relations analyst Jeff Brook. Thunderbolts wrapping up after just a month in theaters is also a concern. These films aren't legging out the previous iterations. Well, maybe because you guys don't even leave them in the theater long enough. You will have a new film come out. The film could cost like $150 million to make, and then you leave it in the theater for a month, and then the next thing you know, it's on demand. And then you're like wondering why didn't we make our returns? What's going on? Well, you only left it in the theater for a month. What happened to leaving a movie in the theater for 6 months? Who cares if it's all the way in the back? Somebody's going to watch it. These are like, some of these things are just like, put me in charge at this point. God damn. Like, just put a... Like, Sinners, for example. You could have left that movie in the theaters until fall. And then do a revamp for Halloween. You would have made even more. Maybe they'll put Sinners out in the movie theaters come September, come October. Would be a great idea for those who didn't get to see it in IMAX. But they're their own worst enemy. Like any of us, we can be our own worst enemy. And I would say that is the case for Hollywood. But, let's keep going. These lower tier we already read that. Okay. It's coming to an inflation point for the MCU. After inundating reviewers with complex, interconnected stories across film and television, Marvel's intentionally slowing down to focus on quality over quantity. That remains to be seen. You can't say that. That remains to be seen. You just said right now that Thunderbolts did not make its money back. It didn't make that much money. So how can you say that they're focusing on quality? They stopped focusing on quality after phase 2. They gave up after that. Because they got rid of everybody that would have checks and balances and had the qualifications that met the quality that they set the standard for. Let's be real here. Is there any incentive to back standalone stories that are no longer safe or bets, or will the studio only greenlight sure things a la the Avengers or Spider-Man? Well, even with their TV shows, there was no real quality. And also the problem is, how are you going to make these TV shows but don't take time to make sure that in your films you set those seeds? That's also the problem. They'll put out the movie and then make a TV show. No. You have to make the movie and the TV show together. And what I mean by that is the scripts, the stories. Those are the issues here. There's no quality control over there because they don't have the qualifications anymore. That's really it. So, they're calling Thunderbolts the new Avengers, but we do know that after Avengers Doomsday, post-Doomsday, and post-Secret Wars, half of those guys aren't even going to be Avengers anymore, and half of them aren't even going to be alive. So, what's the point? Damn if you do, damn if you don't with Doomsday. And I'm telling you this right now, especially if they get into Secret Wars. If you did not read the Secret Wars comic books, I'm letting you know right now. If they do it, bro, oh my god, it might just kill Marvel Studios. I'm not even joking around. Shit. Fantastic Four just might kill Marvel Studios if it's not a success. So here we go. After July's Fantastic Four steps, another cinematic introduction of sorts, Marvel seems to be embracing a go big or go home mentality. The upcoming calendar is populated only by heavy hitters with hefty budgets: Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man 4 in 2026, and Avengers Secret... Oh, they are doing Secret Wars. Oh, God. In 2027. An untitled film is set for July 2027, and X-Men and Black Panther movies are in the works, but other projects that focus on one character like Blade have been stuck in protracted limbo. Protracted limbo? No. They wanted to make Blade a film about 4 girls dealing with the patriarchy, and Blade just happened to be in it. No, they're still doing the ideology. Look what just happened with Pixar's Elio. They had to rewrite the film because of originally Elio was this queer-centered character and all this bullshit. And after the test screenings, they asked everyone to raise their hands if they'd pay to go see this movie, and no one raised their hands. It's because they're just riddling their film with all sorts of ideological bullshit and drivel. And then on top of that, you have people who don't even have the qualifications to write these shows because Disney is broke and they can't afford to hire quality writers and quality directors. So they have to hire mid-level, mid-card directors and writers because they don't have to pay them as much, and they're easy to manipulate and mold and go for what they want to do, not what the writers or directors want to do. And that's the problem. And that's the problem. What's been working for MCU is major team-ups like 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, 1.9 billion in 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, 1.33 billion, or sequels to series within a series such as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Guardians Volume 3, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I don't even know if I would even categorize any of those as success. Maybe Guardians, but anyways. Marvel used to thrive on unfamiliar. When Kevin Feige was assembling cinematic universes in the early aughts, X-Men and Spider-Man, Marvel's best-known characters, had been licensed to other studios. I can't even imagine what the fuck they're gonna do with X-Men. Oy vey. Especially if they're gonna keep God, what's his name? As Logan Paul. As Wolverine. If they keep him as Wolverine, despite the fact that he's like 60, I'm out, bro. I'm out. I especially after the X-Men animated series, after that disaster, I can't with it, man. I can't with it. Yet he created an enormous popular property, Kevin Feige, by introducing Iron Man and Thor instead of... No, that was not just Kevin Feige. All right, that was Favreau. Let's not forget Favreau. Why are you going to exclude Favreau like he did not make and did not write and direct X-Men? See, this is the bullshit that I'm telling you, man. How many times are they going to keep throwing Favreau under the bus? Seriously. That's not a Kevin Feige victory, man. That was a Favreau victory. Same with the Avengers. Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't Feige. That was James Gunn. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping over that paragraph because ain't nothing in there worth reading. All right, let's continue. Robert Downey Jr. can return each time in the MCU lands in dire straits. Well, then why did they cast him as Doctor Doom when everyone was asking for Mads Mikkelsen? You tell me. You tell me. If the studio wants to replenish the well with the new vigilantes, it needs to spend less on origin stories. But belt tightening is getting harder as the cost of everything from actors' pay to visual effects to catering has drastically catering. Why do they need to pay for catering? There's no local businesses that they could hire. Why are you hiring Robert Downey Jr.? Didn't Robert Downey Jr. paycheck be like a third of the fucking budget for the film? Why? I assure you, Mads Mikkelsen's budget probably would have been a little bit more reasonable. But whatever. If the studio wants to, yeah. Well, like I said, man, you don't even have the quality that you don't have the people who have the qualifications to make that quality. You don't have it anymore. You don't take time to ensure that the product that you're making is worth the money you're putting into it. And you haven't been doing that. Sure, Thor Love and Thunder made a lot of money. Sure, Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, I'm gonna exclude that one. Sure, Black Panther did. Sure, Doctor Strange did. It made money, but did it do anything to generate new fans? Did it do anything to maintain a goodwill with the fan base, with the customers? No. But, they're not going to talk about that. Marvel reined in its spending on Thunderbolts, aware that its characters hailed from pandemic hobbled Black Widow and underseen Disney Plus series. And whose fault is that? Because you didn't bother to do anything with those characters when you introduced them. You didn't maintain anything. Even especially when you had the people to merit the quality. That's on them. They fucked that shit up. Typically, the studio's tentpoles cost $200 million to $250 million to produce and another $120 million to $140 million to market. Thunderbolts was slightly cheaper, costing $180 million to make and closer to $100 million to market. Studios are working hard to bring the high-end budget down, says David A. Cross, an analyst with Franchise Entertainment Research. We're going to see less overspending than years after the pandemic. Still, Thunderbolts needed to make $425 million worldwide to break even, a figure that seems unachievable. Marvel is unique because it isn't as encumbered as rivals by the profits or losses of single films. Yeah, that's not true. That's total bullshit. The company can regroup some costs through Disney. That's not true either. And other home entertainment markets. That's not true either. Yeah, let's see how well are the parks doing right now. What happens when Epic Universe opens up? And nothing to say on the massive revenue streams from merchandising theme. They're making no money from their merchandising. They're making no money from their theme parks. They're making no money from their cruises. This is, I don't know how much bullshit they got to keep throwing in this article to make Disney seem like they're doing okay. And every film between Avengers installments can be viewed as a marketing tool. What? Okay, I can't even read the rest of that. But let's look at this, okay? It needed to make $425 million worldwide to break even, and it didn't do that. So let me tell you something before we wrap it up here, okay? This is the last thing I want to say. All right. I'm really sick and tired of those channels out there that will convince you that when a movie from Disney or anything like that, of those larger corporations, if their movie breaks even, that means that it was a success. Do not listen to those channels. That is bullshit. Okay? That's not a success. That's a failure. So don't listen to that bullshit. If you want to listen to them, fine. But when they start talking that bullshit, tune them out. Turn off the video. Put a thumbs down at that point. Whatever it may be. All right? It's no different than the pop culture woke right of Nerderotic and Midnight's Edge and Geeks and Gamers and all them grifty dumb motherfuckers. But the people out there who like and enjoy Disney Marvel but will try to justify and tell you that it's doing way better than it actually is, they're full of bullshit too. I don't know if they're coping. I don't know if they're delusional. I don't know what the fuck it is. But don't listen to them either. All right? Disney is not in a good place. Marvel is not in a good place. Lucasfilm sure as fuck not in a good place. Pixar, they're definitely not in a good place. None of them are in a good place. Okay? They're not. It shows. Go and look up all the craziness that's going on in Disney parks right now. Go ahead. You have the Disney adults, they're running away the normies. You see the quality in the films. No one's doing their merchandising. No one's buying Star Wars toys. No one's buying Marvel toys. And I'm telling you right now, okay, let's just say this. If the Fantastic Four does well opening night, and let's say it's opening weekend and first week, and it plummets after that, what does Marvel have in store next? People already are iffy about Fantastic Four. They're unsure about Pedro Pascal because a lot of people are tired of him. They're unsure about what the story is really going to be about. And I'm telling you right now, if Fantastic Four fails, Doomsday is going to fail. And Secret Wars will fail. I'm just telling you right now, if Fantastic Four underperforms and is underwhelming and the reviews are not good and the word of mouth spreads, they can say goodbye to Doomsday and Secret Wars. It'll be it. It'll be a wrap. But that's all I got for you guys. Please let me know down in the comments your thoughts on this situation. What are your feelings? Are you going to see Fantastic Four? Are you looking forward to the future Marvel products? Have you checked out Ironheart? Because that's out right now and it's doing gangbusters. But that's all I got for you guys. You know what to do. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.